Hello everyone, today is 16th of March, Saturday, so first of all, I hope you have a wonderful day and a great weekend. Now it's 20 to 12 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I'll share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a number of important developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment. But I will start with a short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. And let's go sector by sector. First of all, information about Russian strike in Odessa direction, which took place yesterday. And as a result of this strike, several high-ranking officers of Ukraine's police and nationalist units were killed. This strike took place during the daytime. When it comes to Kherson direction, no reports about any more or less significant changes. Sides continue artillery duels between the banks of the Dnieper River and the fight for control over the islands on the river itself. When it comes to Zaporozhye sector of the front line, of course, main hotspot is still Orekhov bridgehead, and Russian forces on daily basis increasing pressure on Ukrainian units and regaining control over the more and more territories. Rabotina itself, main hotspot in this area, disputed still between the sides, and Ukrainian forces or Kiev regime's forces still are maintaining small foothold on the in the northern part of Rabotina village. When it comes to South Donetsk direction, Russian forces increasing airstrikes on Ugledar direction, and on daily basis, we are seeing now videos about these strikes on concentration of Ukrainian units in Ugledar city itself and the surrounding areas. And of course, main hotspot is still Novomikhailivka settlement, which is still disputed between the sides. When it comes to Donetsk sector of the front line, on the southern flank of Donetsk sector, Russian forces continue to improve their positions in Georgievka direction and increase pressure on Ukrainian units in Krasnogorovka, especially after establishing control over the Nivelskaya, which allows Russian forces to conduct offensive operations on all directions, on southern direction towards Krasnogorovka and northern direction towards Pervomaiskaya and Nitailova. When it comes to Pervomaiskaya, Russian armed forces are in control of at least half of this settlement, according to military channels. In Avdiivka direction, main hotspots are, of course, this line of contact between Toninka, Orlovka and Berdichi. Russian side controls Toninka, majority of territory of Toninka. Same goes for Orlovka, and yesterday I did so on several military channels report that 50 to 70% of Berdichi is also under full Russian control, although I have some doubts about it. Without photo and video confirmation, it's hard to tell what's going on in Berdichi area itself. Russian armed forces meanwhile conducted offensive operations towards this settlement, Semyonovka, which is in between Orlovka and Berdichi, and if Russian forces will reach Semyonovka and establish control over this settlement, I guess Ukrainian grouping of forces in Berdichi area will be forced to withdraw from this area until, otherwise they will be just encircled. They will have no reliable supply and support lines left. When it comes to northern flank of Donetsk sector, Russian forces improving their positions, of course, in Bakhmut direction. And sometimes I find it difficult to use this map because of the coloring. So yes, this is Bakhmut Chisov direction, and main hotspot here is of course Krasnaya or Ivanovskaya settlement. Yesterday and this morning, several military channels reported that Russian forces conducted flanking operation towards Krasnaya and established control over the southern part of village. And if that's the case, also over this industrial zone. And if that's the case, then I guess Ukrainian units will have no other options but to withdraw from western part of this settlement that is still under their control in upcoming days, maybe even hours, because there is no way they're going to maintain control over that part of the village for much longer. And when it comes to northern sectors of the front line, Russian forces continue to increase pressure on Ukrainian units in Seversk direction, and most likely Seversk will be next stage of sectoral scale Russian offensive operation, as I predicted, by the way, after Russian forces established control over their Avdiivka. But yet again, let's see how the situation develops. Main hotspots right now are Belogorovka, of course, on the eastern side of northern eastern side of Seversk, and also on the southern side, Razdolovka and Fyodorovka. And when it comes to Kupiansk direction, several military channels reported that Russian armed forces established control over some 11 Ukrainian strongholds, trenches, and so on in Sinkovka area, which is quite important development, especially now when for a week, if not more, we did not receive any informations, any more or less significant informations from Sinkovka area. And of course, worth noticing that Russian forces continue to increase pressure on Ukrainian units in Yampolovka Terny area. Yampolovka formally is Krasny Liman sector, Terny is Kupiansk sector by designation of Russian Defense Ministry. And even though Russian forces are about kilometers away from these settlements, I don't think we will see offensive on these villages in immediate future, because as I said quite a number of times before, most likely Russian side will use these two settlements as traps for Ukrainian units, because these settlements are located on the left bank of the Zheribets river, and of course supply and support of Ukrainian units in this area gonna be extremely difficult for Ukrainian units, and many of those reinforcements most likely will be neutralized even before they will manage to cross Zheribets and enter these two settlements. So I guess this area is now new trap on Krasny Liman and Kupiansk direction, and it will stay this way for until before Russian side will start large-scale offensive operations in this area, or at least sectoral scale. Let's see how things develop. And this is it when it comes to short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. I remind you, dear friends, that if you are interested in more detailed information on these local scale skirmishes, military channels are providing a great volume of information on that local scale hostilities between the sides. And if you are not familiar with the military channels, under this video in description box there is a recommendation list of mine of the channels that I follow actively, and there are several military channels, links to several military channels there also, so you can use those, including Military Summary, by the way, one of the biggest military channels that there is right now. So yes, that's been said, let's continue with some additional news now. And Interfax is reporting that unfortunately 3 civilians were killed and many more wounded in Belgorod this morning as a result of shelling of the city by Kyiv regime forces. RIA Novosti, on my Telegram page, I shared information about a situation in the Belgorod region, some video and photo material there. You can check it if you are interested in detailed information. RIA Novosti's report also that Ukrainian armed forces conducting evacuation of civilians from Sumy region, and according to latest information, from 22 settlements people have been already evacuated. Kyiv regime most likely understands that that Russian forces will most likely conduct some offensive operations in Sumy, Chernigov, Kharkov directions. First of all, to create some buffer zone so that Kiev regime would not be able to conduct this incursion operations. But also overall, of course, all these regions have to be liberated from neo-Nazi regime in Kiev. In any case, and that's what will happen, of course. When it comes to recent attempt of Kiev regime to conduct this incursion operation into Russian territory on Kursk and Belgorod directions, interesting information surfaced here in Russia that Russian intelligence received information about Ukraine's possible attempt to infiltrate Russian Belgorod and Kursk regions 2 weeks before this attempt from Kiev regime took place. This was reported by Russia One state broadcaster here, and well, after Russia received information about potential attacks, President Vladimir Putin instructed militaries and security services to replace conscripts in border areas with the contract soldiers and the special forces. And Ukrainian units, basically, as a result of these steps, were ambushed. They were entering ambush that was prepared by Russian forces. And as I reported yesterday, according to Defense Ministry of Russian Federation, just in that 3 days when Kiev regime was sending its militants to conduct operations on Russian soil, they lost 1,500 military personnel. Up to 1,500 military personnel and more than 24 of different type of military equipment, tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, armored personnel carriers, long-range artillery systems, and so on. So Kiev regime, for media campaign, sacrificed at least 1,500 of its military personnel, which is not really surprising. Kiev regime quite often does that kind of bloody media campaigns. RIA Novosti's report that oh yes, I already reported about it, that there will be evacuation from Sumy region. Also, Lenta.ru is reporting that according to Defense Ministry of Russian Federation, during the night time, Russian air defense systems shut down .U missiles over the Belgorod region, Ukrainian .U tactical missiles over the Belgorod region, and also rockets from Czech-made RM-70 Vampire MLRS systems. Unfortunately, Kiev regime still has plenty of rockets for this Czech MLRS systems, and they are quite often shelling Belgorod exactly from this weapon. And this morning was no any difference. Exactly that MLRS system was used by Kiev regime to target civilians in Belgorod. Russophobic leadership of Czech Republic probably are happy that they managed to kill 3 more Russian civilians, and several civilians were injured. Someday they're gonna pay price. I believe someday leadership of Czech Republic and leadership of every country that is acting against Russia and Russian civilians will pay a heavy price. It may take a year, 10 years, 20 years, but they will pay price. Trust me on that. TASS news agencies report that unfortunately Kiev regime managed to target with drones oil refinery in Samara region in Syzran, and on my Telegram I did share video of that refinery. Here you can see that some parts of the refinery are on the fire, and I guess some significant damage was done to this refinery. Unfortunately, even best air defense systems in the world, like Russian ones, are unable constantly to shut down all 100% of aerial targets, and sometimes Ukrainian drones are managing to bypass air defense systems and struck Russian infrastructure and often civilians. Let's continue with some other news. RIA Novosti is reporting that as a result of airstrike, Russian armed forces neutralized about 300 militants of Kraken neo-Nazi formation that is in service of Kiev regime. Interesting, during this operation, some ODAB air bombs were used that are 1,500 kilograms each. And because air bombs were used, I guess operation took place not far away from a line of contact, although these militants, neo-Nazi militants of Kraken, did not manage to get to the front line itself. They were exterminated earlier. Lenterus report that according to Russian Defense Ministry, this week, during this week, 3 Ukrainian Patriot air defense systems were destroyed, which is of course significant. Success, especially for Russian frontline aviation that is operating on a line of contact regularly, supporting Russian ground forces. And a few days ago, if you remember, I reported that according to Western military experts and with Western media outlets, even if Kiev regime or Western NATO member states will order additional Patriot missiles to be produced to deliver to Kiev, it will take several years before that order will be fulfilled. So most likely, Kiev regime would not be able to receive same number of air defense systems that it used to in previous months and in last 2 years. Basically, probably some air defense systems will be delivered to Kiev regime by some NATO member states, but those NATO member states themselves don't really have much left to give it to neo-Nazis and mass murderers in Kiev. So every single destroyed air defense system in hands of Kiev regime is a great success. Also, RT is reporting that German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has announced that countries that support Ukraine are not at war with Russia. Yes, of course. The statement came as the leaders of Germany, France and Poland met in Berlin on Friday to show solidarity after their recent disagreements over the military support for Kiev. During the joint press conference with the French President Emmanuel Macron and Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, the Chancellor stated that the countries stand firmly behind Ukraine and that Allied forces will continue to help Kiev regime as long as it takes. It's also clear that we are not at war with Russia, Scholz added. Well, you tell me what Scholz wants to say, really. Because at this point, all these statements from high-ranking officials of the West, I mean, don't even make any sense anymore, and probably don't even worth to pay attention to, because everybody, entire world understands that NATO or Western ruling elites, Western ruling class is waging war against Russia, proxy war. We can say it undeclared war, but it's a war. Hundreds of NATO military personnel have been already killed, thousands. Although disguised as mercenaries, okay, but still. And weapons have been delivered to Kiev regime for hundreds of billions of dollars at this point, weapons and money itself. And Scholz is saying that they are not at war with Russia, really. Anyway. Let's continue. It is very unfortunate that it will take most likely at least several decades to rebuild relationships between Russia and the Western states because of this stupid and basically criminal activity of the Western ruling elites and the governments. That's Anyway, let's continue. Craziness of Western ruling elites have to be demonstrated on daily basis. I guess that's the order that these puppets have in the governments of NATO member states. And well, Finnish Foreign Minister Evelina Poltonen come out with a statement now that NATO member states, collective West should not exclude deployment of NATO troops into Ukraine to combat Russia. Nothing should be excluded, according to her. And well, okay, I mean, Finland, you can send entire your army into Ukraine if you want to. I'm interested to see how long your army will last. Like really, like week, 2, 3. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable how stupid and dangerous these people really are in charge of NATO member states. I think they have no fear of nuclear, because they have no understanding how devastating nuclear exchange between Russia and NATO will be. They have no fear to provoke one. And this is extremely dangerous. Unfortunately, political class in the West is such a dumb, really dumb, uneducated, stupid, intellectually bankrupt, that they don't really understand, seems like, dangers that they are creating by pushing this narrative that NATO have to get engaged in direct conflict with Russia. What will happen if NATO will really officially deploy its forces in Ukraine to deter Russia? These people are really dangerous, man, for everybody. For entire humanity, because they have no idea what they are talking about, and they don't, because of their ignorance and their stupidity. It's not even. It's pointless to even try to explain to them how dangerous it is to provoke nuclear war between Russia and NATO. They are just unable to understand this because they are too damn stupid. And that's why these people have been put in a position of power, by the way, by real rulers of the Western world, because to manipulate with the stupid individuals, to manipulate with disgraceful individuals is much easier compared to people that have some dignity, principles, and intelligence. And that's why in every single country, almost every single country in the West, by the way, just look at it. Leaders, people are put in positions that are extremely stupid, extremely inadequate. It is what it is, man. It's just factual, just take a look at them. Macron, man, total disgrace. Scholz, man, come on. I don't even want to say anything about Finnish leadership, man. They destroy almost ideal relationships with Russia. For what? For what exactly? Unbelievable. And what you're gonna say about British Prime Minister Sunak, man, or Biden in Washington, man? Unbelievable, man, unbelievable. Anyway, let's continue. RT is reporting that Pentagon wants additional 6.5 billion to plug Ukraine arms holes, according to Bloomberg. So, U.S. Defense Department has asked the Congress to allocate at least 6.5 billion to replenish its stocks, which have been depleted after 2 years of constant weapon deliveries to Ukraine, according to documents seen by Bloomberg. Well, what you're gonna say, by the way, Pentagon has a military budget like up to 800 billion a year-on-year basis, like 700-800 billion, and they still are asking for more money. They still are asking for more money, man. Military-industrial complex in US is a beast, man. No amount of money is enough for them. They want more constantly. And that's pure demonstration, clear demonstration of that. Because to whom this additional 6.5 billion gonna go? Of course, to military-industrial complex. As if they are not receiving from Pentagon another tens and hundreds of billions on a year basis. But it is what it is, what you're gonna do, man. RIA Novosti is reporting that, well, of course, one of the major news, by the way, is presidential elections here in Russia. And according to latest informations, some 38% of voters already participated. and cast their vote in these presidential elections. Of course, election started yesterday and it will last for 3 days. So today and tomorrow, voters will be able to go to polling stations and vote, or vote by internet if they're registered as on a platform for distance voting. So of course this number will rise, and eventually I guess at least 65-70%, maybe more, of voters will participate in elections. And well, we all know who gonna be winner of this voting. Of course, vast majority of votes will go for current president of Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin. My prediction is at least, by the way, 65%, let's say, close to 70, possibly, or maybe even more. I mean, who knows? There are 3 other candidates, one from Communist Party, one from Liberal Democratic Party, and one from New People's Party. They will receive some percent, of course, but undoubtedly vast majority will go for Putin, and everybody knows that. That's my point, that everybody knows that Putin is most popular politician in Russia and worldwide, I will say. And this is it for now. How long is this video? Quite short update, which is good. And of course, dear friends, if there is some crucial development during the day, I will make additional news update. And if there will be no technical issues this evening, I will definitely try to have a live stream on my Rumble channel. Yesterday, unfortunately, internet was too slow, so I did not risk it. Let's see if I manage to do a live stream today. Of course, I will inform you through our community page on YouTube and through my Telegram channel, and hopefully you will find time to join the conversation. So yes, this is it for now. If you find this update interesting and informative, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, any topic. With more likes and comments, we can definitely influence algorithms on both platforms, YouTube and Rumble, and maybe even reach wider audience. And for very same reason, if you can, please share links to my videos or my channels with your friends on any of the platforms that you are actively using. And finally, if you think this channel is interesting, useful, has some potential and deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You can see all the links under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.